We got a good fight announcement. Dominick Reyes versus Carlos Ulberg, the main event for UFC Perth on September 27th. And I'm excited for this fight because Dominick Reyes' resurgence has been one for the damn storybooks. Went on that four-fight losing streak, now has won three in a row, all by violent knockout. And he's taken on a technical maestro, clean kickboxer, and a city kickboxing guy in Carlos Ulberg. I think this is going to be a pretty badass fight. I want to give you guys my early prediction and reaction to it because really, you're looking at Reyes with like a Rocky Story chance if he can go out there and pull off the upset. Now, when I actually look about the matchup and I think about how this fight looks when they get inside of the octagon, Carlos Ulberg from distance is gonna be slicker. I mean, Carlos has pretty precise check left hooks, a decent jab alongside of it, and I'd say a pretty accurate kicking game. He also moves relatively well. And I think even though the reach is pretty much the same, I will rate Ulberg from long distance as having an advantage. The factor in this fight that I think is really interesting is this is the first time Carlos Ulberg is going to be set for a 5-round fight in the UFC. How's it going to look in the later stages? What type of pace is he's going to put out against Dominick Reyes, who gave John Jones his most difficult fight? And many people believe, even me included deep down, that Dominick Reyes probably could have got that decision if judging was fair because he put it on John in the first three. Now, obviously, that's years ago, and John Jones is a different stylistic matchup than the kickboxer and Carlos Ulberg. But the fact that he's shown those glimpses of greatness, I feel like Dominick Reyes' resurgence, it's something more. I don't know if it stops here. I look at the boxing on the inside. I see hand speed for Dominick Reyes. He is the quicker puncher. Simply put, knockout power, I would favor. Tough to say. I think it's dependent upon the punch. I think Carlos Ulberg with a big check left hook, and then Dominick Reyes with a fast straight left, but he's got a good right hook as well from southpaw. I feel like Reyes punches harder and faster than Carlos Ulberg, but Ulberg probably better at striking from distance. But where things get murky in my mind too is when I consider Dominick Reyes has solid footwork as well. It's not like he's a bum on the feet and he's clunky, tripping over, every other step. He's a lot more of a light-footed moving striker than some of these other light heavyweights like Jamal Hill, for example. I think Dominick Reyes, you'd consider him to have good footwork and legit boxing skills, pro-level boxing skills. And Carlos Ulberg, obviously a pro-level kickboxer, is going to have that edge from distance. But I feel like boxing beats kickboxing. I think Dominick Reyes is going to be able to close the gap on Ulberg and outpace him on the inside. I think Ulberg might get caught up in a bit of, combination fest and close and then caught by Reyes and forced to retreat. We're going to be in the big cage, so there's going to be a lot of movement available for Ulberg. But I'm also thinking about Ulberg last time out. He struggled with Jan Blachowicz later in the fight. It was really competitive. He got a nitty-gritty decision, and it was a 42-year-old Blachowicz coming off a long layoff as well. And now you got an Ulberg taking on a Reyes who's red hot, really. That's the truth of it. Reyes is red hot. I mean, we can bring up Tapology and look, three in a row. It started off with knocking out Dustin Jacoby, which in hindsight, it's incredible. In the moment, it's like, all right, well, maybe Jacoby's just not that guy. But look what he's done. I mean, look at the win over Petrino by knockout. Petrino's a powerhouse, and he flatlined him. And then look at the win last time against Bruno Lopez. It was too easy. That win over Dustin Jacoby has aged nicely for Dominick Reyes. And then, yeah, Anthony Smith, that didn't age well. I mean, Anthony Smith, he won impressively, but Anthony Smith was done. He broke Anthony Smith. And then Nikita Krylov KO, fast, lightning speed. And I get it. Gushkov just destroyed him in the first round too, but Dominick Reyes did it first. And then Krylov just did a quick turnaround. He wanted some cash. He wasn't digging deep and, willing to push it to the brink of death. He knew what he was doing. He hadn't fought in a while, and he wanted those checks because he saw the numbers come in against Reyes. Fuck, I'll take another one. Give me Gushkov. Fuck it. Whatever happens, happens. I know how to fight. And he got knocked out again. But Reyes did it first, and he did it faster, and he did it more impressively, to be honest. Though Gushkov's win was sick. I love Gushkov. Then you look at the side of Carlos Ulberg. I mean, to be fair, he has been fucking incredible. Last time, hard fought win over Jan Blachowicz in a very tit for tat point style fight. You know, the reason that I think Blachowicz struggled a bit more with Ulberg, though he had moments of success, doesn't have the same speed as Dominick Reyes. Definitely not the hand speed. Blachowicz got some terrifying kicks, and he can definitely punch hard. And I know some will say, oh, but look what Blachowicz did to Reyes. That was a long time ago, guys. That was a damn long time ago, and that was a prime Jan Blachowicz. Now it's a 42-year-old Jan who had, been through the ringer, layoff, injuries, things holding him back. His shoulders were done for. And he still gave Ulberg a true run for his money. And the fight before that, decision over Volkan Ozdemir. Ulberg looked technically sound. And Volkan's a tough out for sure. He gave Reyes a tough out years and years ago. But again, a guy that probably not primed anymore. And then fight before that, it was the flash KO of Menefield, sick knockout. The Da Woon Jung fight, though, I bring that up because Da Woon Jung can box a little bit. And Da Woon Jung pushed a little bit of a pace with Ulberg and made it a dogfight. And then, Ulberg ends up getting a late submission, but it's not like Da Woon Jung didn't have some success. And then fight before, it was just too easy against Potieria. Ulberg is good, but he's not perfect. He does have a loss to Kenlyan Zachuku. Kind of looked for the KO early and then fell apart in the later stages and then gets knocked out. More of the, accumulation of volume. But what that's shown is it's possible to get through Ulberg's guard. And then him in a testy one with Blachowicz. I know people look at Ulberg as the new face in the light heavyweight division, and Reyes looks like, an older vet. But the age difference is less than a year. 35-year-old Reyes, which I don't care what anybody says. 35 is fucking prime at 185 pounds to probably 265, and this is light heavyweight 205. Excuse me. I think Reyes still absolutely in his prime. Ulberg on the opposite side, 34. Yeah, he's prime too. Height and reach is the same, which is interesting because do you see Ulberg just keeping Reyes away from him with kicks all night? Do you see that fact? Do you see it happening? Do you see Ulberg just managing distance and just keeping Reyes off him? Pump, pump, chopping him kicks, jab, move, counter, left hook, and just staying on the bicycle and then dropping him and knocking him out. Do you see that? Reyes' chin's held up. He's eaten a couple of shots recently, and it doesn't seem like he's got a glass Joe chin, I should say. He doesn't have a glass jaw, doesn't have the glass slipper. I know it looked really bad back against Superman Span nearly 3 years ago. He got caught with a perfect power jab and knocked out, and it looked like it was over. Can I say fluke, though? Can we be real and call it a fluke? Can we call it what it is? Bit of a fluke. Flukes happen in this game. And good fighters lose to guys that are okay sometimes. But Dominick Reyes dug deep mentally. He took some time off, and now over the past year, this has been a Dominick Reyes 2.0. I'm telling you, he's the resurgence Reyes now. And this is his chance to really become the Rocky of MMA because he had John Jones against the cage. I was going to say against the ropes, but he had John Jones on the point of wilt. He landed great punches on Jones. He backed him up. And a lot of people feel like he won the first 3 rounds and he lost a competitive decision. And most feel he won. And then he fell off hard. But now to see him dig back, something tells me he's got his mind right with his body. And if we have a Reyes that shows up with the rock solid mentality that carried him into a war with John Jones that he should have won, does he not beat Carlos Ulberg too? He's faster than him. He punches harder than him. He's got better boxing than him. I think Carlos Ulberg might be in for a true run for his money. It's not that Ulberg's untested, but if it's 5 rounds with Jan Blachowicz, that could easily swing the other way. And it's a 42-year-old Jan Blachowicz. A 35-year-old Dominick Reyes that still has the speed. I think he's going to land some big left hands, and I think he's going to rip some good boxing combinations in close, and I think people will be surprised at the clear boxing disparity between the two. Because Carlos Ulberg, coming from the striking base as a professional, sometimes the lines get a little blurry. People start to overrate the pro experience and then match it in the cage. There are some badass boxers in MMA right now that could box as pros too. Maybe not be the world champ, but they could definitely get down and dirty in there. And with kickboxing, there's less of a primary focus on the hands. And I feel like, yes, we've seen a ton of kickboxers. They're going to do better than boxers. There's a lot of guys that box, they never learned anything else, For whatever reason, the transition just doesn't work the same as it does with kickboxers. But MMA boxing that Dominick Reyes brings to the table versus the kickboxing of Ulberg, I'm not giving Ulberg a striking edge. He's got a kicking edge. He's got a distant striking edge. But when we get into that red zone, close range, Reyes. Boxing range, as they call it, when we're in the pocket especially, Reyes. We're in the mid-range, Reyes. When we're against the cage, Reyes. And truth be told, when we're on the ground, it's Reyes. Not saying Reyes is going to be blasting double legs and, channeling Marab for a night of chain wrestling. But if they were to go there, I'd favor Reyes' ground skills over Ulberg's. I think Carlos Ulberg is hella good. But I think that Dominick Reyes is fighting for something more. I feel it in my heart. As soon as I saw it, I said, wow, this pick is hard to make early, but I see a pathway for Dominick Reyes with his hands. I see Ulberg as a nice kickboxer from range, but he's not the most slick on the inside. He doesn't have the craziest head move. He's got a good parry game, and he's good at keeping you on the outside and landing shots, but Reyes has a rare ability at closing distance. Reyes is one of the best at closing that gap and landing multi-shot combinations. And I think people are forgetting just how good Reyes can be if you're overlooking him. Now, I don't know what the betting lines even look like. I should probably look that up. Let's see right now if there's any betting odds for Ulberg versus Reyes. I'll look it up on my phone here so I don't change the screen around. But I feel like Reyes has got to be a dog. Excuse me. Somebody posted on Reddit. Anyone else think Ulberg is a huge fraud and about to get destroyed by Reyes? Shout out to whoever that was on Reddit. I don't see odds, man. I don't see odds, but there should be. Should I just chat GPT some odds and see if they can make a prediction? I think we should do that right now. Let's do it right now. Let's see what chat GPT thinks, because I think the odds could be near accurate. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if they know what we're talking. Ulberg Reyes odds. Let's see if it happens. All right. Yup. Okay. Chat GPT gave me odds for this one. You guys want to hear what they are? Minus 245 for Carlos Ulberg, which I'm assuming is right, to Dominick Reyes at plus 195. But I think that Reyes is going to cash as an underdog. I'm not going to call it a fraud check. I'm not going to sit here and say he's fraud checking Carlos Ulberg, because that's not true. Carlos Ulberg's legit. But I believe Dominick Reyes is in the mix again. And I think he's found this fire inside and he's using it to will out some great performances. And I bet he's showing up as good as he's ever looked in the biggest spot in a long time, because he knows loss here and it's over. Not his career over, but it is. Metaphorically, it's over because he's not going to ever challenge for a title again. And Reyes got into this to be a champ. I mean, he was the guy on the come up. He's looking for the dream. He's trying to create it here, the reality of the fact. I think Dominick Reyes wins this fight. A loss, he could probably retire. Like, he could say that's it. I think he wins this one. I think he's fighting for his career and for a title shot. And you telling me right now, Dominick Reyes in a world title fight in 2026 wouldn't be the most badass MMA comeback ever? I think it's better than Charlie O's, because it looked like Reyes was done. It looked like Reyes was done after the Ryan Spann fight. But you know what people forget about? How he nearly knocked Yuri Prohashka out. It was 4 years ago, but Reyes is primed right now. I think he's better than then. People look at the bad loss against Spann. They look at the bad loss against Blachowicz, and then they overlook this Dominick Reyes, who I don't think is that. I think he just got caught. Shit happens in this game. I think Carlos Ulberg is going to be pushed, and it's going to be a pace that he can't keep up with. If it goes all five, I see Reyes working him over the five, but I don't think it's going to go all five. I think Dominick Reyes is going to knock Carlos Ulberg out. I think a big punch combination towards the cage, maybe third round, maybe fourth round. I think Dominick Reyes puts it together, and I think he drops Ulberg and TKOs him in what's going to be one of those crazy MMA upsets. And it has me salivating at the bit to watch. Holy shit. September 27th, this might be the most exciting fight for me in a long time. At least like non-championship fights. The light heavyweight division's on fire again. I mean, look, we got Bogdan Gushkov as, a good guy that just broke into the top 10. We got freaking Khalil Roundtree and Yuri Prohashka in a top contenders fight. Ulberg and Reyes in a top contenders fight. To be honest with you, if Reyes knocks Carlos Ulberg out and Yuri Prohashka and Khalil Roundtree, depending on who wins that, like, would it be who's more impressive, or would it just be auto Yuri for a title fight if he beats Khalil against Ankalaev? Because a lot of fans do want to see it. But I feel like there's a storyline with Reyes getting a shot at gold. And for me, this feels like a top contender fight, especially because neither has recently challenged for the title. Obviously, Dominick Reyes, he fought John Jones, but that was back years ago, 2019 era MMA. And a 2026 title shot for Reyes, that'd be something. Could you not see him give it on Ankalaev an interesting matchup? Southpaw versus Southpaw. Obviously, the big power of Pereira will be terrifying. But I don't know. I've joked about this on streams before. And I've said, could you imagine Dominick Reyes? He beats somebody on the way up, gets the title shot, and then pulls off a crazy win and then calls John Jones out. Beats Ankalaev somehow in a title fight, calls John Jones out. They do the rematch years later, and it becomes one of the biggest fights in MMA history, because it would. If Reyes can pull off that type of resurgence, it definitely could happen. And it starts with this one. This is the step to get to the greatest comeback in MMA history, career-wise. And I think that Dominick Reyes is pulling it off. I'm going to predict him to TKO Carlos Ulberg. I think the hands will look fast and sharp. I think he's going to outbox Ulberg. I don't think there's a threat of grappling from Ulberg. Yeah, there's the distance striking. Yeah, there's a check left hook. But I think the Reyes chin holds up and the hand speed wins it all. Speed kills. And I think Dominick Reyes has it with power too. I'm going Reyes for the upset. Badass fight that was just announced. I had to give you guys an in-depth reaction and breakdown for it nice and early because I had a ton to say. I also wanted to just quickly react to this. We got Mohawk McGregor. He pisses excellence, and he's officially back in the UFC testing pool. He's doing some weird movements here per usual McGregor. I hate the Mohawk on him. It's like BKFC vibes for sure. He's shadow boxing a bit. He's getting loose. He looks heavier on his feet. To be honest, it looks like me. Jesus. I gave my first blood test, and that's the plaster is on my shoulder. I'm ecstatic. I'm in shape. McGregor teasing a comeback. I'll believe it when I see it, but I had to react to more so Mohawk McGregor than anything else. He also was trolling Topuria earlier today with like a picture of Topuria over his face. Trying to make something happen with that. I don't think there's a McGregor-Topuria fight, to be honest with you. I think, if anything, McGregor-Diaz 3 or the damn Chandler fight. Those are the two that make sense. And I doubt it's at 155. It's most likely at 170. But we'll see what happens. At this point, McGregor's got a goddamn Mohawk. The baby powder is getting the best of him. Good luck to him. I want to see McGregor back for something crazy and emphatic, but my expectations, they're shit low. He's thinking about, I want to fight at the White House. Can the UFC rely on you after pulling out of the Michael Chandler fight with a broken toe? Broken pinky toe, and he pulls out? Shitting on RDA for it years before? I can't. We'll see what the UFC decides. Not up to me, but we had to react to McGregor. He's back in the testing pool. That piss, he's staring at it funny, man. He's giving that piss a hard look. He's praying that it's clean, man. I think McGregor, hopefully, is clean. I don't know. He's probably on the peptides, but I don't know if they're popping you for peptides, man. The new drug testing, it ain't USADA. It ain't as hardcore. Trust me on that. That's why some of these fucking guys end up showing up Muslim South jacked. It's like, what the fuck happened? They never looked jacked before. TRT era 2.0, 2025. Maybe like 5.0, because the old era was all tests and shit. But that's besides the point. That's another video. That's another stream. It was about Dom Reyes pulling off the upset, maybe of the fucking decade, but definitely potentially of the year as he takes on Carlos Ulberg at UFC Perth. And I'm excited as hell. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that damn like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with my take? Do you believe in the resurgence of Dominick Reyes? You just going with Carlos Ulberg to send them back? Is that it? Are you an Ulberg's witness? Or are you a Reyes believer? I'm a Reyes believer in heart and soul, and mind too. Thanks for watching, guys. I want to hear from you, so let me know in the comments. W in the comments, you got nothing to say. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, people. Much love.